Hi, I thought I would provide a video to accompany the instructions for your final project, and hopefully this will make the project that much more clear to you, the requirements of the project that much more clear to you. I have a problem described in the document that you see here, and you'll be given a copy of this document. And the problem has to do with creating a database to store data related to books that are sitting on shelves in faculty offices in the computer science department. So here's the basic idea. If you go into any faculty office, computer science department, any other academic department would have the same thing going on, but we'll just relate it to the computer science department. If you go into any faculty member's office and look around, you'll see that there are hundreds of textbooks sitting on shelves, and for the most part the textbooks are just collecting dust. And there is also a fairly limited selection of computer science textbooks in the Nicholson Library. So it would be convenient if the books that the faculty have collected over time could be made available to students and to anyone else that might want to have access to them. And what has occurred to me here, and this is where you get involved, is if the faculty members were to maybe hire a student to do this job. I don't think any of the faculty would want to have to do this themselves because it's so time consuming, but if we could get a student to go in and take inventory of the books that currently exist and tag each one with a unique number, then it would be possible to take all that data related to the faculty person, data related to the books themselves, and maybe data related to where the books are actually stored, what location, and design a relational database and store all that data. And then if we could design the database so that it would keep track of people who borrow the books and keep track of when they are borrowed and keep track of the condition of the book when it's borrowed and the condition of the book when it's returned, and maybe also provide a feature whereby we could allow anybody that borrows a book to create reviews, make comments about the books, then we would have a very usable database that we could connect to the internet and allow anyone that might want to examine our collection, might want to borrow books from our collection, to transact through a web form. So in order to make this happen, the starting point would be to come up with a database design, and then again, once the database design is refined to the point where the database can be created, then we would go ahead and create the database, populate it with the data, and then write the program front end, undoubtedly a web interface, program front end, to actually allow the users to see the books, check out the books, and so forth. So I have provided some information here, and I want you to try your hand at this, and hopefully this makes sense. I don't want it to be necessarily a big burden here at the end of the term, and I don't want it to be something that creates a lot of frustration and anxiety for you. But I thought it would be useful if, after viewing the videos from the last module, if you were given the opportunity to actually try to do this yourself. So in the previous video, I had described how one would go into the real-world environment and identify things, put it in a narrative, and then from that narrative distill the nouns that eventually lead to the tables and the columns within the tables of a relational database. And so I'd like for you to do the same kind of thing here. And again, I want to remind you, and I said this in the previous video, that the narrative is really a starting point. So once you wrap your head around the problem, and once you read through the narrative, and then you begin to harvest the nouns from the narrative, that should get you started in developing the database design. But very likely there will be other things that you'll want to add to it that aren't directly embedded in this text. So don't think that you can't add to what is extracted from this text. So hopefully you'll have a chance to work with this for a couple of hours. Let's say that a reasonable amount of time to do this would be 2 hours time. And I want you to take whatever you end up with, and I want you to use whatever software you need to, and draw an ERD. And you could use Microsoft Word, the drawing tools in Microsoft Word. And just in case you don't know how to use those, I'm sitting in my gazebo and there's a train going by. Sorry about the background noise. But I'll just launch Microsoft Word here very quickly. Oh, already had it open. That was a Word document. So let me go over to File and choose New Blank Document. So on the Insert page in Microsoft Word, there are shapes, and if you use the text boxes here and the lines, you should be able to draw most of the shapes that you need. And then if you want to use the same style that I did, the chin diagrams as they're known, there is also a diamond shape right here. So here's a diamond shape, right? And of course you can choose a different fill color, and the connecting lines can be drawn in this fashion. And of course the text boxes can be used to represent the entities, and the entities then, if I go to the home page and maybe bold this and center it, can be used in this way so that we can insert a name. So I would draw the diagrams, with Microsoft Word, certainly an easy enough way to do that. But you may want to draw this on paper first, because as you go about creating your design, you're undoubtedly going to change things around a bit, and it might be easier to draw it on paper. But again, final document, make sure it's drawn in Microsoft Word or some other appropriate software. And I'm going to close up this without saving. Okay, and I'm back to the instructions again, and I want to make one final comment before I shut down the video. What I want to tell you is that I intend to use this in another class, and in the other class I indicated that I wanted them to develop a fully attributed database design, ERD. In your case, you need only show me the entities. You do not have to show me all the columns within the entities. So you can make your diagram look very much like the diagram that I showed in the previous video. All right, well, I'm going to turn it over to you and see what you can come up with. Again, spend about 2 hours on this, and then I'll be providing you with probably another video, and in that video I will show you my solution to the problem. But I'm going to wait to post that video on Moodle until later on in the week. And that will kind of force you to hopefully think about this, and you won't be tempted to take a look at what I've done. You know, you'll be forced to come up with some design of your very own. And there's, as I mentioned, I think during the Skype session, there is no necessarily right way to do this. Some ways are better than others. Some ways are, you know, probably clearly wrong, the wrong approach. But for the most part, there are many ways that you can go about designing a solution to this problem. So your way may not look exactly like mine, but hopefully there's certain common elements. And I also understand that this is the first time you've ever tried to design a database, and I remember clearly what that experience was like whenever I did it. So it's going to be harder, I think. Certainly it was for me, a lot harder than it looks, or what it might seem that it should be. So have fun at it, and I'll be anxious to see what your designs look like when you submit them.